If you want to understand this body, you have to understand a simple fact. He said the Republican Party is primarily a party of businessmen. The Democrat Party is primarily a party of attorneys. That's being shown quite clearly today. So let this old street cop give some of our fancy attorneys on the other side of the aisle a little history lesson. When it was first proposed to limit impeachments in the American Constitution to treason and bribery alone, Virginia Delegate George Mason pointed out that Hastings, who was being impeached at the time by Parliament, is not guilty of treason. Mason questioned the wisdom of limiting impeachment to those two offenses, arguing that treason is defined in the Constitution, as defined in the Constitution, would not reach many great and dangerous offenses that attempts to subvert the Constitution may not be treason as defined, and that it's the more necessary to extend the power of impeachments. Mason then moved that the convention add maladministration to the impeachment power. Eldridge Gerry seconded the motion. Then James Madison argued that the term maladministration, which deviated from the more commonly recognized phrase high crimes and misdemeanors, was so vague a term that it would be the equivalent to a tenure during pleasure of the Senate. Quote of Madison. Governor Morris agreed with Madison, at which point Mason withdrew his motion and substituted as grounds for impeachment, quote, bribery and high crimes and misdemeanors. Bribery and other high crimes and misdemeanors. The motion carried without any further discussion of the new phrase, which ultimately became part of the Constitution. Here's the bottom line. As historians summarize, the actions of the delegates of the Constitutional Convention stated that, in summary, through the early debates, every speaker referred to neglect of duty and misconduct in office as impeachable offenses. And after Madison objected to the vagueness of the proposed impeachment clause, Mason then moved to add high crimes and misdemeanors. This passed 8-3 and became the orthodox phraseology. The vote in favor of the compromise motion suggests that the delegates understood that the new terms included neglect of duty. The addition of misdemeanors to the list of offenses meant that the House of Representatives was permitted to charge officials with misuse of power and neglect of duty.